Let's get it! 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Thursday. Good afternoon. Welcome in. Thanks for being with us. We're with you for the next 3 hours and change here on the Sports Voice of Kansas. 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our video streaming channels on YouTube at 580 Sports Talk and on Facebook at WIBW News. However, whenever, wherever you're catching the program today, thanks so much for being a part of the audience for 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. I'll be with you for the duration today. Spencer Dupuis will be along starting in the 4 o'clock hour. Brendan Dorzinski is off today. We got a fun one today. Two great guests set to join us. We're going to talk some Kansas City Chiefs, lots of staff changes at K-State we're going to get into. We're going to talk some Kansas City Royals. Nothing really percolating on their hot stove. And based on all of the rumors, I would say that's a good thing, because all the things that it's been suggested that the Royals are interested in doing would be really stupid. And I'm starting to wonder if they know what a good player looks like in the front office in Kansas City. Starting to grow a little concerned with the evaluation process, particularly as it pertains to what that team needs offensively. I'm going to get into that. I'm a little fired up. I would love to talk about a transaction, but honest to goodness, if what's out there being suggested as a possibility is what the Royals end up doing, I'm going to crash out. I'm going to end up on awful announcing. They're going to do something so dumb that I'm going to lose my marbles. Anyway, we got that. We got what is wrong with you. We got fun stuff coming here today on 580 Sports Talk. Our two great guests. Rick Peterson, bottom of this first hour of the show, will join us for the local sports spotlight. We'll get Pistol's perspective on the Washburn Ichabods and Shawnee County High School sports. Obviously, basketball underway. We've talked some hoops. We will talk some high school hoops, but also wrestling and swimming underway. So we'll get Pistol's perspectives on those things as well among the city athletes. So the local sports spotlight coming up at the bottom of this hour. Then, of course, at 5:25, Mitch Holthus joins us, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. And we'll hear from Mitch as the 6-7 Chiefs enter truly must-win territory starting on Sunday. You guys know how reluctant I am to go there to say those words. We're here. It is must-win time for the Kansas City Chiefs, because it is almost impossible to see a way into the playoffs that does not involve the Chiefs winning their final 4 games. So Mitch Holthus will join us to talk about that coming up at 5:25, a courtesy again of our friends at Hy-Vee and the Jura Credit Union. On that point, the Chiefs have 4 games left. They're all winnable. They're going to be favored in all of them. They're 5.5-point favorites going into Sunday against the Chargers. What would it look like for the Chiefs to win out? It's hard to picture it based on the picture currently we have in our heads of this Chiefs team coming off of back-to-back losses, which have been so rare in the Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes era of Chiefs football. But what would it look like? What would it look like if the Chiefs went on a run? We'll talk about it. I mentioned we're going to talk some K-State football today. Lots of staff news today, not necessarily incoming staff, but certainly outgoing reports of several assistants who've been told that they won't be returning. Both coordinators will not be back. One of them has already landed on his feet in the Big 12. We'll discuss those moves and what it looks like K-State might be lining up as far as their coaching staff under Colin Klein. And as I mentioned, the Kansas City Royals, they've been pretty idle during the offseason so far. They have not made any significant additions to their roster. They signed Alec Lang. I think that was a non-roster deal. Maybe that was a 40-man deal, but that he pitched like 1 inning last year. That's not the kind of move unless he can return to the form of 2 years ago where you say, oh, yeah, that moves the needle for the Kansas City Royals. But there are a lot of rumors out there. The Royals like to see their names in the headlines, and there have been reports out there that the Royals have been connected to certain players. And here is the problem with all of those reports. None of them are as good as the Royals think they are. or none of them solve the Royals' problems, might be a more accurate way to put it. So could it be that the reason that the Royals have fielded below average offenses the last few years, despite employing Bobby Witt Jr. in his prime, despite employing a 30 home run, 100 RBI catcher in Salvador Perez, and a 30 home run, 100 RBI first baseman in Vinny Pasquantino, the Royals have fielded substandard, and that's being kind, substandard offenses. And I wonder if that's just because they don't know what a good offensive player looks like. Maybe they just don't know. Maybe J.J. Kolish doesn't know. We'll get into that. We're going to talk some baseball. Hey, maybe the Royals will make a move today. Maybe today's today they go out and do something. But if it's anything that's been reported as the Royals having some interest and they go and do that, I'm going to get real mad because it would be real dumb. Plus, we'll have our typical shenanigans for a Thursday afternoon. We're going to do either or over under at some point today. We'll get into what is wrong with you. 580 Sports Talk headlines. The Sharon Moore story in Michigan taking a very dark turn last night and into today. We'll give you the latest on that. NFL injury news, including the participation report for the Chiefs. All that and more coming up on the program today. Plus, your interaction with the show. Want to hear from you. The text line is open, 785-272-9429. As 785-272-9429. You can also interact in the live chat on our YouTube stream. The live chat is up while we are live on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Slam that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything but a click. We are 21 subscribers shy of our stretch goal, which will get us to sing for you. And 580 Sports Talk Idol will come your way when we get to 900 subscribers. We're 21 away. Who will be the hero that gets us closer today? The heroes, plural, who smash that subscribe button. Smash it on 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. And as you watch the show live on our YouTube stream, there is a live chat. And if you're logged in to YouTube, you can hop into the chat, say hello, interact with your fellow listeners, grow the community around 580 Sports Talk. And, of course, you can interact with your hosts as well. The name of the channel, one more time on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. All right. The Kansas City Chiefs playoff odds, as we know, are not good. 11% chance, according to The Athletic, of making the postseason. And that's low enough to where it feels for many of you like the season is already a lost cause. We had people on the text line earlier this week telling me, stop with the playoff odds. It's over. Enough with the odds. Don't tell me the odds. But not in like that cool, fun way that Han Solo says it in Star. I hope that was Han Solo said it in Star Wars. I'm not. It's been a long time since I've seen those movies, but I feel like that was Harrison Ford as Han Solo in the Star Wars movies. Don't tell me the odds. Not in that cool way that you say, don't tell me the odds. Just in the, I'm tired of watching this football team. I hope they don't make the playoffs. It'd be better if they didn't make the playoffs. Please stop telling me what their playoff odds are. And so we've wallowed in that a little bit. Probably the last 3 days, we've done a little wallowing. Enough wallowing. The Chiefs have 4 games left. They've got to win them all. They can win them all. There's not a guaranteed loss on this schedule. They don't have to go to the 1975 Steelers. They don't have the 85 Bears on the schedule. The 2013 Seahawks aren't coming to town. They got 4 winnable games. And per Las Vegas, they are favored right now in the look-ahead lines for all of their games, including Sundays with the Chargers coming to Arrowhead Stadium for a noon kick. And I got to be honest, I don't know why you'd root for any other outcome if you're a fan. Now, I don't like being the fan police. I don't want to tell people how to fan. How you do it is how you do it. And because it is an exercise that more often than not ends with disappointment, it's a hell of a thing we do to ourselves, right? Root for a team. It's 32 NFL teams. 31 of them end up disappointed at the end of the season to some degree, in some form or fashion. Even teams like this year, there are a bunch of teams out there that are playing with house money, right? Like the Seahawks, it's a bit of a house money year for them. The Broncos is a house money year for them at this point. odds are pretty good neither of those two teams are going to win the Super Bowl. And if they don't, even though it will be an acknowledgement that, hey, you know what? This was more fun than we anticipated having. They won a lot of games. This was a memorable, good year. But you still have that disappointment that lingers if you don't win the big game at the end. That's what we do to ourselves. We put ourselves in a situation as rooters, as fans, where you don't hoist the big trophy at the end. You're a little disappointed, at least a little disappointed. And obviously that disappointment grows in direct correlation with how much you expect or believe that your team actually can win the big trophy. And if you're a Chiefs fan, your expectation for a Chiefs fan, their expectation through the roof for this year, as every year since Patrick Mahomes became the starting quarterback. And so the fact that it looks likely that not only will they fall short of that, but will fall short perhaps of the entire postseason, it's devastating. And I understand if you're trying to separate emotionally from the 2025 Kansas City Chiefs and say, you know what, it's fine. Not their year. I hope they don't win out. I hope they do miss the playoffs. They could use a recharge. It'd be beneficial if they get a draft pick in the middle of the draft. I hope they don't get in. I don't know why. I don't know why you would have that attitude. Patrick Mahomes still the quarterback, right? Every year of his career, he's been to an AFC championship game. Look, this is not a playoff field that the Chiefs couldn't win 4 games against. It's not. There are no juggernauts. We've acknowledged that. Maybe the Rams. On their best day, they look the most like one. But, wouldn't you rather buy the ticket, see what happens? Buy the raffle ticket and see how it goes in January? Wouldn't you rather that be the outcome? Hey, you fall short, you fall short. You know, Chiefs win out, go 10-7, and that's not good enough? Ah, dang, bummer. All right, at least you get the draft pick you want, and you get the rest that you're hoping could benefit some of the older players on this team. But I don't understand any other, hope for Chiefs fans other than, let's just get in. Hey, it's going to be hard, but boy, if we could just get in, we make it happen in January. I don't know. Again, that's dangerously close to me telling you how to be a fan. And if that's not how you feel, that's not how you feel. But from my perspective, I would rather see the Chiefs give it a whack with Mahomes, age 30 season, and get into the playoffs. Because you don't get these years back with this guy, folks, and you're not going to get another one like him. So I would be rooting for the outcome that includes the Chiefs winning out. So what does that look like? How do they get there? Well, they got 2 games left. 2 of their 4 are against the Titans and the Raiders, and those are layups. There is a group of teams in the league that I am going to refer to henceforth as the terrible 10. They are the 10 teams going into week 14 that have 4 or fewer victories. And none of that has happened for those teams by accident. They are all utterly and totally non-competitive. And we went through earlier this week how much it has benefited the Patriots and the Broncos to play a bunch of games against the terrible 10, while the Chiefs, to this point, in their 13 games, have only played 3 games against those teams. Well, they got 2 more lined up. They get another crack at the Raiders, week 18. We'll see if that even means anything. But they got them, and they got the Titans next week on the road. Those are gimmies. The Chiefs have dominated their 3 earlier games against the terrible 10 this season. They have been among their most lopsided wins of the season. They handled the Giants on the road back in week 3. They also dismantled the Commanders, and we know what they did to the Raiders at Arrowhead as well. There's no reason to expect the Chiefs won't handle their business in those games against the Titans and the Raiders. However you feel about the Chiefs, whether you think they're closer to good than the mediocrity their record would suggest and think they've maybe just been a little bit unlucky with timing, sequencing, injuries, whatever, or if you think the Chiefs are closer to being lousy than the mediocrity that their record suggests, I still think in any case, they are a weight class or 2 above the Titans and the Raiders and can win both of those games. So that leaves their 2 divisional games, both at home. This week's game is extremely gettable. The Chargers are even worse up front than the Houston Texans are. And for whatever reason, even though their quarterback is playing with a cast on his non-throwing hand, the Chargers seem less inclined to protect Justin Herbert. Maybe they'll change their thinking and change their philosophy after the Eagles beat him up on Monday Night Football. Maybe they won't, because they won that game and figure, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if the Chiefs defense has the juice that it had on Sunday night, and I would expect that, it's a must-win situation. Chiefs usually get a lift playing at home. They should wreck shop up front and make it really, really hard for the Chargers to score. I don't think the Chargers are as good as Houston defensively. I think the game probably takes a similar shape to Sunday night's game. And if the Chiefs are a little sharper, they can win that game, no problem. They're 5.5-point favorites right now, according to the consensus Vegas line. So that's a winnable football game. Christmas against Denver is another night game at home. Chiefs typically play well in those spots, largely played well against Houston. I know that game ended in frustrating fashion, but if they don't gift wrap Houston 10 points with a bad play call and an uncharacteristic gaffe by a Hall of Famer, Chiefs probably win that game. They were not bad for 60 minutes. Typically, they elevate at home in prime time. They did earlier this year against Washington. They did earlier this year against Detroit. I would expect they would do it again against a Denver team with a limited offense and a defense that, while is very good, I don't think it's on Houston's level. I think it's a defense with a little bit of an easier nut to crack. So these are winnable football games. And that is not to say I am guaranteeing that the Chiefs are going to win out. But that is to say, if you take each game in a vacuum, each matchup, would it surprise you if the Chiefs won? The answer is no. So they're winnable football games by definition. But here's the problem with the scenarios I've just laid out in front of you, particularly when it comes to the games against the Chargers on Sunday and the Broncos on Christmas. The path to victory in those games, throw out the Titans and the Raiders. Those are semi-pro teams at this point. The path to victory against good teams that look playoff bound right now, the Chargers and the Broncos, they involve the proposition that the Chiefs are going to flip a switch that we have been waiting for them to flip for 13 games that will turn them from the uneven, mistake-prone, and unclutched group that they have been for 13 games into a brand new football team. And how willing are you right now to believe that that's in them? I admit to you, my faith was unwavering that they'd figure it out right up until Travis Kelce dropped that interception into Azeez Al-Shire's hands against the Texans on Sunday night. Up until that moment, and I have said this repeatedly this week, I would have picked, without flinching, the Chiefs to go to the AFC Championship game and win it. I would have. That's the level of championship equity we're dealing with here that the Kansas City Chiefs have. That even spending 12 games and 3.5 quarters looking at times disorganized and disjointed and undisciplined and lost at sea and stale on offense and slow. It's still Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones and Travis Kelce running around out there, and it's still Andy Reid, and it's still Steve Spagnuolo calling the plays on defense. I would have assumed. I assumed is maybe too strong a word, because you know what happens when you assume. But I would have believed it was possible. Now the math is starting to stack up in a way that calls into question that faith. And you're running out of games. You have only 4 left. It'd be one thing. It was one thing when we were talking about the Chiefs in this fashion during the bye week, going into literally the second half of the season, where we thought, they had some really great moments, but they've also had some really rough ones. Typically, second half of the season, November, December, that's where they play their best football. They'll turn it on. They'll figure it out. Gets harder and harder to do that the more you see them not do it against the quality competition on their schedule. So I guess your perspective depends on how likely it is that you believe the Chiefs can become a different football team starting Sunday. And again, it's not as if there's not a little bit of precedent with these guys, because coming out of the loss on Christmas Day to a woeful Raiders team who did not complete a pass in the entire second half of a game they won at Arrowhead, with Mahomes making 2 terrible turnovers that led directly to Raider scores. That team coming out of that game, given what we'd seen from them all season, we were probably saying about the same things. They're too mistake prone. They're too inconsistent. They're too turnover prone. They don't have the juice. And then they won the Super Bowl. So if they're waiting to turn it on, they may have already waited too long, but the precedent is set. So, yes, all of the negative things, all of the problems the Chiefs have, they still exist. They will still exist when they go into the game on Sunday afternoon. Well, one of them that will be a little bit in better shape is it looks like they're going to have Trey Smith back at right guard. And that's going to make a difference because Mike Caliendo just got walked back into Patrick Mahomes' lap for the last 6 quarters, 8 quarters. That's going to help. But all of those problems are still true for the Chiefs. But all of the things, the primary things that have made them championship teams, starting with the personnel on the sideline and the personnel under center calling the plays on offense, they're still the same. So that's what it looks like. It looks like the Chiefs becoming something that they have been before, but have not managed to be to this point this year. Do you believe in the smaller sample size of 13 games this year? Do you believe in the bigger sample size of the last 4 years? Either way, I can promise you this. There is nobody in the AFC that wants to see the Chiefs get in. It's must win for the Chargers. It's must win for the Broncos on Christmas. Nobody in the AFC wants to see the Chiefs get in, have to deal with Mahomes in the playoffs. I don't buy this idea that the Chiefs' aura has been shattered. I really don't buy that. What they don't make the playoffs, they don't win out. We won't find out whether it has been or not. We'll take a quick break here on 580 Sports Talk. We're going to shift gears and talk a little college football when we come out of the timeout, as Kansas State has announced some coaching staff change. I guess Kansas State hasn't announced it, but there are reported coaching staff changes in Manhattan, including one coordinator who's already got a new job elsewhere in the Big 12. Plus, Rick Peterson joins us in about 10 minutes or so. We got Mitch Holthus at 525. Got a jam-packed show today. So glad you're here on 580 Sports Talk. Mark H. in the YouTube comments here on 580 Sports Talk, on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel, makes the counter argument, the very simple and plain counter argument to the argument I just made, that it is indeed possible for the Chiefs to go 10-7 win their final 4 games. Mark says they're going to flip a switch. The Chiefs, they would have done it by now. And I think that's probably true. At the end of the day, I think the likeliest outcome is that they do stumble in one of these divisional home games, whether it's Sunday or whether it's Christmas Day against Denver, where their offensive difficulties catch up with them and the defense plays well, but not quite well enough, kind of like the Houston game. And they drop one of those and they end up finishing 9-8 and out of the money entirely. That's probably the likeliest outcome. That's why the playoff odds right now are sitting at 11%. But also, I think we came out of that Raider game 2 Christmases ago saying, well, gosh, if they were going to flip a switch, they would have done it by now. They were that team until abruptly they weren't. And then they went and won a Super Bowl. So they have left it late before, to say the least. And that's your, I don't know, like I said, we've wallowed too much in how wrong this season has gone. So if you want to think that was all just a bunch of sunshine pumping, that's fine. But hey, maybe you needed that. Maybe 1 or 2 of you out there needed that. Need a little optimism going into Sunday. We'll have, of course, much more on the Chiefs-Chargers matchup on tomorrow's show, including keys to the game, our predictions, our chat with our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick. Shifting gears from KC Chiefs football. That was clunky. That's not what I was trying to say at all. You could maybe tell. Shifting gears from the Chiefs to the Wildcats. K-State football obviously has a new head coach. And it is not a surprise that there's going to be a lot of staff turnover. It seems like it might be just about an entirely new coaching staff coming to Manhattan. News broke earlier today. I think Pete Thamel had it first. Baylor is hiring Joe Klanderman as its defensive coordinator. I think that's a good hire for Baylor because they've been kind of sorry on defense the last couple of years. And I don't think I've ever seen a Joe Klanderman defense be sorry. I've seen him have bad games, but I've never seen him be sorry for 12 games. I think Joe Klanderman was really good at his job. Came in to replace Scotty Hazelton and worked for Chris Kleiman as his defensive coordinator, ran that 3-3-5, and I thought he was always really good. I thought he made good halftime adjustments. I thought he was an additive defensive coordinator to Chris Kleiman's staff, and I think he'll do well at Baylor. Also not returning per On 3's Pete Nakos, offensive coordinator Matt Wells. I'm not going to play Pitbull, but just imagine that I did. Running backs coach Brian Anderson, which I think is a big loss. K-State's been really good at developing running backs while Anderson's been on the staff. Wide receivers coach Matthew Middleton will not be retained. Tight ends coach Luke Wells will not be retained. Cornerbacks coach Van Malone and defensive tackle coach Mike Tuiasosopo have also reportedly been informed that they will not be returning to Manhattan. If you lose the DC and the OC, typically that means everybody else is out the door too. Maybe somebody hangs around with a little bit of experience there in Manhattan. Like they want to keep Steve Stannard, the linebackers coach, on staff. I actually think that would make a lot of sense. It'd be nice to have somebody who's got some familiarity with the team. Brian LePack is another guy I think they will keep. But outside of 1 or 2 guys, it's going to be a whole lot of turnover in this Kansas State staff. And when we talked to Tim Fitzgerald about it yesterday, he suggests it's going to be a very young staff. Very, very young, very energetic, and with ties all over college football. Ties to Kansas State previously, ties to Colin Klein previously, ties to Colin Klein's most recent stop, Texas A&M. We'll see how it forms. There's nothing official out there yet, and a lot of rumor mongering. But both coordinators will change. I think Joe Klanderman deserves a tip of the cap, a salute on his way out of Manhattan. Maybe a different kind of salute for Matt Wells' offense. We'll come back with Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight next on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by the great Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight. Pistol covers Shawnee County High School sports and the Washburn Ichabods at TopSports.news. Make it a daily part of your media diet. Pistol, Washburn women's basketball. I want to start there. I want to start with the Bods today. They just picked up a win on Saturday at home over Fort Hays State, 67-64. Washburn beating the number 3 team in the country. Best win of the Laura Westling era. What can that do for that team's confidence moving forward?
Well, Laura and I talked after the game, and we've been talking for 4 years about taking the steps. That, you got to take these steps. And that was a huge one the other day, proving you can beat a very, very good program and a very, very good team. And, they had their opportunities to let it slip away and didn't. Their seniors really stepped up big. And like you said, biggest win of the Laura Westling era.
It was 2 wins last week for both the women and the men for Washburn to open MIAA play. And the Ichabod men were tested a little more than I think folks might have expected the number 2 team in the country was going to be tested. Had to come back from some halftime deficits to beat UNK and Fort Hays State. Do you think that's good for them long-term, that they faced a little bit of adversity early so that they know they can't take any MIAA game for granted?
Yeah, I think so. But I also think I fully expected that to be a close game. Fort Hays State was picked 2 in one of the polls in MIAA preseason. They have a very, I don't know what kind of style you make it, but they really muddy some things up. They're going to make you force for everything you get, work for everything you get offensively, and they're going to do what they want to do and try to take you out of what you want to do, which is, in Washburn's case, is, get up and down the floor and things like that. So I wasn't surprised that it was close, and I wasn't surprised that Washburn found a way to get it done.
One other Washburn athletics note, in about 15, 20 minutes or so, the Washburn women's soccer team will take the pitch in Colorado Springs with a chance to go to the national championship game for the second time in 3 seasons. They're in the Final Four. They play Franklin Pierce this afternoon. They are the number 1 seed in the reseeded Final Four. How realistic are the chances for Davy Phillips' young squad to bring home the big gold back to Topeka?
I think they got as good a chance as anybody. I don't pay attention to the seeds. I don't know exactly how they reseed them and stuff, but I do know that Washburn can play with anybody in the country. They've proven that. And, I did a story I posted yesterday that, they knew they could be good. And as the season went along, they knew they could be really good. And now, for the second time in 3 years, they got a chance at a national title. And with, like you said, a young team, I mean, their leading goal scorers are freshmen, and they got a freshman goalkeeper. They do have a very, very good defender in Belle Kennedy and some other veterans on the defensive end that really limit other teams' opportunities. But I'm very anxious to see what this game today holds.
Rick Peterson of TopSports.news joining us for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. We do it every Thursday at this time. Pistol, let's pivot to the high school realm. And we talked a little basketball last week, and we'll get back into some hoops later on in the conversation. But I did want to talk about some of the other winter sports that are either revved up or about to get revved up. Let's start on the wrestling mat. And over on the boys' side, obviously both boys and girls, it's the case. You've got those programs in an area that are standard-bearing programs. There have been some of those on the boys' side. Obviously, Washburn Rural, tremendous state finishes the last handful of years. Shawnee Heights and Seaman have put together some really competitive programs. What do you see on the wrestling scene this year? What's the main storyline you think you'll be following, or storylines in boys wrestling this year?
Well, exactly. Like you said, the traditional powers are still going to be good. I think on the boys' side, Hayden's made some steps. And Jude Krentz, a name we know well from football, he's got a state title opportunity. Caleb Minke's got a state title opportunity. And then, like you said, Washburn Rural's got several I mean, the Coach Munozes both have chances to win again. The younger one would be his first. The older one would be number 3. So they're very good. But it's they're just getting going good. They really heat up after the Christmas break. But it's going to be another good year in the county.
Over on the girls' side of things, again, Washburn Rural, they've been a standard bearer really in the entire state since girls wrestling became a sanctioned sport. But there have been some good individual and team talents. Shawnee Heights in particular, Highland Park's Michaela Cadett is a returning state champion as well. What will you be following on the girls wrestling side this season?
Well, yeah, I mean, rural's going to be good all the time as long as Damon Parker's got that program. He's got it in good shape, and they're going to continue to be good. Chad Parks and Eric Singer got the Shawnee Heights girls program in really good shape. They were 3rd in 5A as a team last year, and they're going to be very good again. Like you said, it's kind of the standbys. Are always good, and then there's always some others that hop up there.
Rick Peterson joining us for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk, covers high school sports and the Washburn Ichabods for TopSports.news. Over to swimming, and we'll see the action in the pool already rolling. Has anything jumped out at you from the early stages of the swim season?
Well, Washburn Rural getting Daniel Allen back is very big. He's a homeschool kid. He swam as a freshman and was a multi-time state placer. His sophomore year, he took a year off from high school swimming to really work on his club career, and now he's back with the Junior Blues. And first time out, he goes 3 golds in a second. So he'll be as good as there is in town.
How about outside of that rural program? We know Siemens had some success in recent years, and again, it's been more individual success than broad team success in some of the other programs. But who are some names to watch this season in the pool?
I think we're still waiting to see that. I think Barbosa of Siemens, a very good, Kinzer Barbosa of Siemens, a very good swimmer. But I think we're still kind of waiting to see who's going to jump up. Swimming's one of those sports that sometimes you can have a freshman that you've never heard of and comes in and swam club since he was 5 or something that can really surprise you. So I think there'll be some surprises. I think we're still just waiting to see what they are.
Couple more questions for Rick Peterson of TopSports.news as we continue on the local sports spotlight. Let's get to the hardwood and a monster matchup coming tomorrow night up at Viking Gymnasium. It's our 580 Preps game of the week. It's the second half of our doubleheader. A boys basketball game between number 2 and number 4 in Class 5A. Seaman and Topeka West, both undefeated, both with some big wins early on in their schedule. Really looking forward to this matchup, Pistol. What stands out about this matchup to you?
There's a lot of firepower, so I don't know. I mean, it may be who is able to play the best defense, because you look at both teams and they're going to score. You just don't. I think if you're a coach, you don't want an 82-80 game or something like that. So I think they're really. I think defense is going to be a key. I'm not saying. I don't know what you think, Dan. I think it'll be definitely in the 60s, if not maybe a little higher than that. But you don't want to let the other team get too far ahead.
Yeah, I think control the ball, like control of possession, particularly for Seaman, because Topeka West's so good in transition. They're really athletic. They're long. They get into passing lanes. But Seaman's got those veteran guards. They got a 5 senior lineup that really plays mature ball and takes good care of it. So if they can stay away from giving Topeka West a lot of 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s the other direction, I think that could put Seaman in good shape. Going to be a great atmosphere for that game too, Pistol. A great crowd, I expect.
Yeah, I think so too.
That will be our 580 Preps Friday night game of the week doubleheader tomorrow night. Seaman and Topeka West right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Other early developments this season, Washburn Rural's girls. We knew they were going to be without Maddie Vickery at least for a good chunk of this season, if not all of it. And again, her recovery sounds like it's trending in a really good direction. So Kevin Bordewick's team, not with their star back, but a lot of really young talent. I don't know how they keep doing it out there at Washburn Rural, but Bryn Anderson leads a freshman group of players that looks ready to make an immediate impact for the Lady Blues.
Yeah, it already has in the first two games. And Bryn, we saw her in volleyball, so we know she's a great athlete. And I said it last week. I think you're going to be surprised at how quickly Maddie Vickery gets back. So, you throw her in the mix with all those other girls that are used to kind of carrying the load early, and I think they'll be the type of team that we've grown accustomed to with Kevin Bordewick.
Another result from recent action that raised my eyebrow was Hayden shellacking Basher Linwood in Emporia the other night, the first night of the Paul Terry Classic. Basher's been a solid 5A United Kansas Conference program. We know that Hayden has been very good the last 2 years, outstanding, really, and graduated a lot, but they do bring back Haley Schmidtline. Sure seems like there's some ancillary talent, secondary scoring that's showing up for Carvel Reynoldson's group, and they don't look like they've fallen too far despite the loss of a really, really good senior class.
No, and I think we'll see more as we go on. Schmidtline is very, very good, as we already knew. Blakely Walder is going to be a key player for them this year. Reese Husher as a senior, going to give them some senior leadership. They're going to have some growing pains, and Carvel and I talked the other day. They've been a little sloppy at time, and but they're also, by the end of this week they'll have 6 games in, and I think for a team that's kind of trying to find their way and overcome some graduation losses, that's probably good for them.
Last one for you, Pistol. You've been doing this longer than me, but I've been doing it quite a long time, too. And I've never seen anything quite like the score from the Chapman tournament from the other night with Rossville's girls, who look to be very good. Riley Dick and Nora Burdyke is as good a 1-2 punch as you're going to find in their class, in their league, in this area. 2 very, very good players. They beat Bishop Ward on Tuesday night, 93-0. Have you seen anything like that, Pistol, before? Because I sure haven't.
I don't know that I've seen that. I've seen some bad ones, but I don't know that I've seen 93-0. And I think Coach Dick and his team probably, they had some stuff they wanted to work on, but I don't know exactly what you get out of that. Now we'll find out very quickly how good Rossville is, because they got the war coming up. So we'll see right away how good they are, but they're going to be good. And those 2 you mentioned are Nora Burdick and Riley Dick are as good as there is in the state.
Rick Peterson covers high school sports in Shawnee County and the Washburn Ichabods for TopSports.news. He joins us every Tuesday at this time Thursday at this time, for the local sports spotlight. Pistol, always a pleasure any day of the week. We'll do it again next Thursday.
Look forward to it.
Take good care. That is Rick Peterson. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We will wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk. Real quick, as we wrap up this 3 o'clock hour on 580 Sports Talk, you heard it yesterday. Tim Fitzgerald of GoPowerCat.com told you this was coming, and it was made official earlier this hour per a press release from K-State Athletics. Trey Scott is the new general manager of the Kansas State football program. He worked 11 years in player personnel with NFL teams and has spent the last 3 years as an agent for coaches and executives around the league. He's a former Kansas State quarterback, overlapped with Colin Klein during Klein's playing career. He's a Kansan from Shawnee, went to Mill Valley High School, and now he returns to Kansas State as the program's general manager. The statement reads, "I've had a long career in football, but this is different. This is family, and this is home," Scott said. "I'm excited to work with quality people and be aggressive in this era of opportunity." So K-State football has a new general manager today. Coming up at the 4 o'clock hour, what are the Royals doing? Nothing. Maybe that's a good thing. Plus, we'll hear from Matt Nagy and Steve Spagnuolo, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Now, number 2 on 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday afternoon. Thanks so much for being with us here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on the YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk, name of the channel, and on Facebook at WIBW News. Again, however you're enjoying the show today, appreciate that you're along for the ride on 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you until 6 o'clock. We'll have a little overtime tonight ahead of Thursday night football. We will have the Westwood One broadcast of the Thursday night game tonight. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers in action hosting the Atlanta Falcons as the Buccaneers try to put some pressure on the Panthers in the NFC South race that I like to spend as little time thinking about as possible. Buccaneers are getting healthier. They got Mike Evans back for tonight's game. Pre-game coverage at 6:30 from Westwood One here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Following Thursday Night Football, a tape-delayed edition of the Jerome Tang Show. So lots of sports tonight here on the Sports Voice of Kansas. Still to come on the show today, we got some more Chiefs for you. We're going to hear from Matt Nagy and Steve Spagnuolo, their press conferences from earlier today at One Arrowhead Drive. Nagy, some interesting comments today, I thought, as it pertained to the running game, and Spags, I thought also worth listening to. So we're going to hear from both of the Chiefs coordinators. We're also going to hear from Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Chiefs. He'll join us at 5:25 this afternoon for our weekly chat. Mitch's appearance is, of course, brought to us by Azure Credit Union and Hy-Vee. We've got headlines. We got What Is Wrong With You. We got Either or Over Under. And, of course, your interactions with the program today. Say hello on the text line, 785-272-9429. You can also reach out if you are watching the live stream on YouTube or Facebook. If you're on Facebook, WIBW News, you just type a comment. We see it. We can interact with you over there. Also, if you're on the YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk, there is a live chat that runs throughout the show. You can type your comments in there, questions, concerns, but mostly your interaction with your fellow listeners and your hosts that sustains and grows this burgeoning 580 Sports Talk community. We're happy to have you here, there, or anywhere you're listening. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube to comment live on the show. I wanted to talk some baseball today. I've been wanting to talk some baseball because the winter meetings have just wrapped up, and we're starting to see some of the bigger free agent dominoes fall. Kyle Schwarber went back to Philadelphia. Dylan Cease.
On a 5-year deal.
Dylan Cease got 7 years from the Toronto Blue Jays. The Mets are beginning to disassemble as Edwin Diaz goes cross-country to the Dodgers, and Pete Alonso signs with the Baltimore Orioles. Haven't seen any real blockbuster trades, but, a lot of player movement. Mets did sign Devin Williams, so they traded out one closer for another. It took the Yankees closer from last year who lost his job because the ERA was in the fours. That's obviously not going over well. The Mets fans were a little annoyed that their team and their owner, their richer-than-God owner, is acting like the Milwaukee Brewers, which when you hire the guy that used to run the Brewers, don't be surprised, you start moving like the Brewers, which you shouldn't be doing if you're not the Brewers and you're not poor. Poor, relative term. Anyway, so the winter meetings are happening. The Royals obviously are a team in need of some upgrades coming off of a season where they missed the playoffs last year. And I was hoping that by this point of the offseason, we'd have something. We'd have at least a new bullpen arm or a trade, or certainly the ideal is not just one, but two proven formidable offensive pieces to add to a Royals lineup that did not have enough of those on their way to an 82-80 finish last season. None of that has happened. But based on the Royals' line of thinking, I'm starting to think that might be a good thing. Because I'm starting to doubt that the Royals are capable of identifying good offensive fits, which would really explain a lot as to why they haven't hit a lick the last 2 seasons. Starting to doubt the Royals' process a little bit here. And you can go back to the only eyebrow-raising thing they've done to date this offseason, which was bringing back Jonathan India in his final arbitration year with a 1-year, $8 million contract that was a surprise to a lot of teams in baseball. Don't believe me? Ken Rosenthal in The Athletic, quote, Royals second baseman Jonathan India appeared to be a non-tender candidate before the team last month re-signed him to a 1-year, $8 million contract that surprised many in the industry. Let me just say this. If you do a transaction and the description of it is a surprise to many in the industry, you probably goofed. You probably messed up. The Royals apparently, according to Rosenthal's reporting, believe that India will bounce back in his age 29 season for 2 reasons. Number one, he will strictly play second base, which that is kind of newsy because that would, A, seem to rule out the Royals making an upgrade at second base elsewhere this offseason. I'm dying for them to throw the entire farm at Ketel Marte. That move might swing the Central right then and there. But no, apparently Jonathan India is going to be their second baseman, which means it won't be somebody from outside the organization, and that means it probably won't be Michael Massey, other than maybe against some tough right-handed pitchers. Maybe he's a platoon guy. Maybe he's the Adam Frazier role of left-handed bat, can play second, can maybe play some third, can play left field, and maybe some center. They tried to stick Massey in center. I didn't think that went great, but you get the idea. Anyway, so that's the first line of thinking. India's just going to play one position, doesn't have to worry about learning a brand new position on the fly, and that probably will help a bit, physically, if nothing else. And number two, they are crossing their fingers and hoping that the contract year will remain undefeated, that India will be more motivated to have a big year before he hits free agency as a 30-year-old. And we'll see. Obviously, that has worked for some guys historically. There's all kinds of great examples across all sports. The one I think of off the top of my head is D Ford. I know it's a different sport, different team, same city. D Ford's contract year, unbelievable. D Ford after the contract year, yeah, not so much. But D Ford in the contract year, unbelievable. If Jonathan India has a D Ford contract year, Royals are going to be just fine in 2026. But that's how the Royals are playing that. The problem is India has gotten worse offensively pretty consistently since his rookie year. He was rookie of the year in 2019. But let's again be real honest about, or 2021 rather, we're real honest about that 2021 season. He's never duplicated that kind of power or come particularly close. His slugging percentage has gone from .459 in that season to .346 last year. Just a lot that suggests that maybe he's one of those guys who played high-level college ball and maybe peaked early. It was really ready for big league competition, but just never got any better, and league caught up to him a little bit. He was worth 4.1 wins above replacement that season. He's been worth 3 wins above replacement the 4 years most recent to that. That's not good. That's less than 1 win per year over the last 4. I don't know what a bounce back looks like, but if it doesn't look like 2021, you probably overpaid. So anyway, there's that. The thought process behind the return of Jonathan India. And we've had some rumblings. We've had, the Royals have been connected to certain players. Royals have had interest. That's something teams like to do, is put a bug in the ear of a reporter like a John Heyman or a Jeff Passan or a Ken Rosenthal or Bob Nightingale, just so sometimes it's just for the sake of appearing to be busy, appearing to be active. A lot of times that's the case when it's a team like the Marlins or a team like the A's, and we look at that and like, ooh, the A's are interested in this play. No, they're not. They're not spending money. Get out of my face. You're not really. You just want your team name to be in the headlines so your fans know there's somebody at the desk in your front office.
Someone's doing something to look at players is what they're trying to make
somebody's looking at a spreadsheet. Yeah, we're trying. The website Fangraphs has a "we tried" meter where it measures how often teams show up in like a player signs. Like let's say it's Dylan Cease gets that 7-year deal from the Blue Jays, and then you count in the headlines how many teams were like, well, the Phillies were also interested, or the Mets also kicked the tires on Cease. Like that is out there to give your fans the impression that you tried. And that's great. You tried, you failed, is what that means. But there have been players that the Royals have been connected to, some of them for longer than just this particular offseason. Taylor Ward is the Taylor Ward dream.
Yeah.
If you were still hanging on to that one for 2 years, that one's obviously over. He got traded to Baltimore this offseason. But it was one I saw last night that totally broke me in half when I saw this from MLB Trade Rumors. Royals interested in Teoscar Hernandez. That's a famous name because he plays for the two-time defending world champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Katie Wu and Fabian Ardaya of The Athletic reported last night the Royals are interested in Dodgers outfielder Teoscar Hernandez. The veteran's name has come up in trade talks recently, though general manager Brandon Gomez has said a deal doesn't seem likely. That is, of course, the Dodgers general manager, not the Royals general manager. That is still J.J. Piccolo. The Royals need a corner outfield bat. Teoscar Hernandez plays the corner outfield. The Royals need power bat. Teoscar Hernandez hit 33 home runs last season, or 2 seasons ago. Excuse me. That's very important distinction. He hit 25 last year. He has 217 career home runs and has hit more than 25 in each of the last 5 seasons. The Royals need a right-handed bat. Teoscar Hernandez bats from the right side of the plate. With all of that, boy, why am I so down on the idea of acquiring Teoscar Hernandez? Have you watched this man play defense? Look, if you're going to play at Kauffman Stadium, there's 2 things you got to be able to do if you're going to play outfield. Number one, you can't just be a power guy. That's never really worked out in Royals history, to have just a power guy come in and play. It's just not how the ballpark works. Doesn't make a lot of sense to get a guy whose entire offensive value is based on them hitting the ball over the fence. Teoscar Hernandez last season hit 25 home runs, drove an 89, slugged 454. That's great. That would be an upgrade over a lot of what the Royals ran out there last year. His on-base percentage was .284. He batted .247 with a .284 on base. 2 years ago, or 3 seasons ago, he had .305 on base. His career on base is .316. That's one of the biggest problems the Royals have offensively. Is they got too many guys who make too many outs. Teoscar Hernandez makes a lot of outs. And he makes up for it on defense by being a total nuclear disaster of a defender in right field. I cannot stress this to you enough. If you remember Jorge Soler's misadventures in the field, that he looked like prime Alex Gordon compared to Teoscar Hernandez in the outfield for the Dodgers last year. He can't play defense, flat out. So if you get a guy like Hernandez, you got to be able to have some DH at-bats for him, which the Royals don't have, because those are all going to some version of Salvador Perez, Carter Jensen, or Vinny Pasquantino next year. There are no DH at-bats at the Inn for Teoscar Hernandez. So you're looking at a player you're going to have to stick in the outfield, where, again, he is horrid. And you're going to have to depend on him hitting a bunch of home runs, which is not the kind of thing that is guaranteed when you play half your home games at Kauffman Stadium. A fair question from the text line asking about distance on Hernandez's home runs. I can tell you this. He hit, as a total, he hit, they have him down for 30 last year. I was looking at the numbers. They had him for 25. 30 home runs last year. Expected home runs at Kauffman Stadium, 21. He would have lost 9 home runs playing his games at Kauffman Stadium last year. Dang. So instead of getting a 25, 30 homer bat, what if you're getting a 20 homer bat who can't field? You'd have to let him bring a laundry basket to the outfield to try and field the ball cleanly. It's a no from me, dog. Oh, yeah, he's also owed $22 million a year over the next 2. This is such a non-starter, that such a bad idea, such a bad fit, that it makes me question the entire thought process of the Royals front office. And he's not the only guy they've been connected to. They've been connected to Jake Myers of the Astros, who's still under arbitration, so he'd be a trade candidate. But Jake Myers has only ever been an above-average offensive player 1 year in his career. That year was last year. You know how far above average Jake Myers was as an offensive player? It was not far. I want to make sure I get the number exactly right. So let me pull up Jake Myers. That's the wrong Jake Myers. Jake Myers last season had an OPS plus of 103. He was 3% above league average as an offensive player, and that's because he had a 353 batting average on balls in play. The year before, he had a more normal 263 average on balls in play, and he was 17% worse than league average. So the only thing that gets him over the line on league averageness is luck. Also, he doesn't hit any home runs. He had 3 home runs playing a bunch of his games in the bandbox known as the what are they calling it these days? Minute Maid Park still? No, they changed the name, didn't they? What? I don't even remember what it's called anymore. Let's see. Oh, Daikin Park.
Yes.
Dakin or Daikin, I don't know. Anyway, it'll always be Enron Field to me, let's be honest. 3 home runs playing a bunch of his home games with the short porch, and he's a right-handed hitter. Jake Myers is a right-handed Kyle Isbell. Like, you already have this player. He just bats from a different side of the plate. He's maybe slightly better, but redundant. You already have that guy. Don't trade for that guy. Jarren Duran is the other one that keeps coming up, and Jarren Duran is a good player. I do not think Jarren Duran is a superstar, even though he played like one in 2024. He almost had 9 wins above replacement that year. He was, I think, the 3rd most valuable player by wins above replacement in the American League behind Judge and Bobby Witt Jr. But last year, down to 4.5 wins above replacement, which is still, like, that's a really good player. The Royals don't have a lot of players who are that valuable. Not a big on-base guy. Doesn't draw a lot of walks. Not going to hit for a ton of power. Defense waivers. He's not really a center fielder. He's going to probably be a left fielder moving forward. There was a time he snapped on a fan and called him a homophobic slur. That was a cool thing that Jarren Duran did. So, like, this is not a superstar. Jarren Duran is an upgrade for the Royals, but he is not a superstar. And they're talking about Cole Ragans for Jarren Duran. I promise you, if the Royals trade Cole Ragans this offseason, I'm going to do 3 hours of throwing a fit into this microphone. It's going to be the dumbest thing they'd ever done in the history of the franchise, trading Cole Ragans. Even for a guy like Jarren Duran, who Duran's not as valuable as Ragans is at his best. I know Ragans has had the injury history. I understand that there's durability issues. You don't trade an ace. You don't. And if you do, it better be for a player who's better than Jarren Duran. So, long and the short of it, I am bothered by the apparent thought process that any old outfield bat will do for the Royals, to the point where, like, if they want to trade for Teoscar Hernandez, just go get Adolis Garcia for nothing, even though Garcia hasn't been good since the Rangers won the World Series 2 years ago. Like, if you want a right-handed batter who can hit some home runs but is going to make a ton of outs, go get one for free. You can have Adolis Garcia for a song.
Yeah.
Anybody can, because he's not good. And that's basically what you're getting with Teoscar Hernandez at this stage of his career. At least Garcia's won a Gold Glove. Hernandez has an Iron Glove. So I'm not enthusiastic about the thought process I'm seeing from the Royals this offseason. I think they're targeting the wrong kinds of offensive players. Even though it won't take much to upgrade their offense, they should be looking for more reliable upgrades, and they should not be so willing to trade from their pitching depth as they did last year. Because they traded from their pitching depth last year, and Brady Singer kept on being good, and Jonathan India didn't. And they missed that pitching depth when guys like Ragans and Lugo got hurt. And they were having to run Rich Hill out there. Like, you think you've got enough starting pitching right up until the season starts, and all of a sudden you don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they've gotten the idea that, oh, we've got this embarrassment of pitching riches. Like, you've got a nice 1 through 5. You've got some other intriguing system arms. Don't, like, they're acting like there's a gun to their head, and if they don't trade Chris Bubich or Cole Ragans for Jarren Duran, then I just don't get it. I hope the actual moves are better than the rumored ones for the Kansas City Royals. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back with some What Is Wrong With You next on 580 Sports Talk. So what is wrong with you time on 580 Sports Talk? 2 news stories competing today. Our current weekly champion, the meth deposit, a 40-something Ohio man who was making a transaction at the drive-up bank teller, and when he sent the pneumatic tube back, he left a little surprise. It was a baggie of meth, and he had a lot more of it on him, which the police found because leaving a baggie of meth in a pneumatic tube, that's probable cause. In case you didn't know that, now you know. That's our current weekly champion. My story today, we're going to Los Angeles County, Torrance, California, to be precise, where a postal worker has been sentenced to 5 years in federal prison for stealing checks, debit, and credit cards from the mail over the past 3 years, buying herself luxury goods and exotic vacations. This is going to make you like go to your bank and be like, hey, can I just pick up my debit card from here? Can you not send it through the mail? 133 stolen credit and debit cards, 16 U.S. Department of Treasury checks, and a ghost gun were discovered in the Carson apartment of Mary Ann McDammit when law enforcement searched it in December 2024. I wonder what she said when they that's also what she said when they caught her. Yeah. McDammit. The 31-year-old was arrested in July after it was learned that she continued to make purchases with victims' credit cards. More stolen cards were uncovered during a second search of McDammitt's apartment. She posted her luxury purchases and vacations on Instagram, even flaunting stacks of $100 bills. If you are committing a crime, bragging about it, not the move. She agreed to forfeit a Rolex and other luxury goods. She stole mail for a 3-year span, activated stolen bank-issued cards online, used the cards to make purchases, and sold some stolen cards to her co-conspirators. She also arranged to have her co-conspirators cash the stolen checks. She's been in federal custody since July 1st and pled guilty on August 11th to 1 count of conspiracy to commit bank fraud. She owes $660,000 in restitution. Don't brag about your crimes.
Yeah.
Don't put them on. Don't do it for the gram. Don't do it for the gram. Never worth it. All right, Spencer, what's your story?
Yeah, we're gonna go to Polk County.
I was just in Polk County.
Yeah,
Lakeland, Florida. Yeah,
we're gonna go back to Polk. One of our favorite stops, actually, on What Is Wrong With You. On December 6th, deputies with Polk County Sheriff's Office began investigating reports of counterfeit bills being passed to 2 local businesses in the same shopping plaza in South Lakeland. A witness said they saw the suspect leaving in a gray Kia SUV. Gene Armand, 32, of Tampa, was identified as the suspect and arrested. During the interview with detectives, Armand claimed that he got the counterfeit bills from his friends, 25-year-old Quincy Staten Langley and 24-year-old Beyonce Staten in Mulberry. Deputies said
that's the given name, Beyonce.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, I mean, bunch of young men named Kobe. Why wouldn't there be young women named Beyonce? Anyway, continue.
Deputies said they spotted the gray Kia SUV at US 98 and Lyle Parkway in Bartlow on December 7th, pulled it over. According to PCSO, Staten Langley, and 2 children were inside. Deputies said one of the children had a counterfeit $20 bill and a receipt from a Mulberry Taco Bell from earlier in the day. Staten had $400 in currency, 1, 5, and 10s, while Stanton had 100 on her, 1, 5, and 10s. According to PCSO, investigators said counterfeit $20 bills were used by a child at a Dollar General store earlier on December 7th, and the child with Staten and Staten Langley matched the description. A deputy who went to the Mulberry Taco Bell said the same child used a counterfeit $20 bill to make a small purchase and receive change. The same child also made small purchases that same morning at a nearby pizza restaurant using a fake $20 bill and received change there as well.
So these,
so the parents, it appears,
sounds like,
are using their kids to pass by fake money.
That's low, man.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously that behavior wins today because, like, honestly, what is wrong with you? You getting your small children caught up in financial fraud. That's horrific.
Yeah.
Also, I don't want to think about them ever again. So I cannot say that they win the week, but that is horrid.
Yeah.
That's so bad. The meth deposit's going to continue on by default. Terrible story. Good story. Daily winning story, but also horrible story.
Yeah.
The meth deposit moves on as our What Is Wrong With You champion. We're going to hear from the Chiefs coordinators, Nags and Spags, next on 580 Sports Talk. 4:38 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer hanging out with you today. Thursday in a game week means the Chiefs coordinators take the podium at One Arrowhead Drive to speak before the day's practice. What are Matt Nagy and Steve Spagnuolo trying to do to help dig this team out of their 6-7 hole? First, we'll hear from the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs, Matt Nagy.
Matt, just big picture, how would you evaluate where the offense is?
Yeah, it's stating the obvious, not what we've wanted the last couple of weeks. It's we all are. I think you get into these moments, and you go back to the middle of the season, we were really hitting at all cylinders. Guys felt really good, and for whatever reason, the last couple of weeks, there's been the same thing that's been going on with some of the whether it's just the execution, the play call. There's just everybody all together, and I think that's where when you come into this deal, we got to make sure that these moments aren't easy. It's something where when you go through these times, it talks about adversity or it reveals character, and I think that's very important to understand as we go through this. It can show where people are and how you're going to battle through this. Are you going to start with yourself? And we do that. In the end, we got to win the game. In the end, we got to play better on offense. In the end, we got to coach better. So all of us know that. We understand that. And then we also have guaranteed 4 more games. And I think the mindset for us is, as we came into this thing at the beginning of the week, is let's look back at what we didn't do well. And let's make sure that we understand we all have a job to start with ourselves to get better with that. And then you got to do it. We've been saying it, but it hasn't been getting done. So the leaders that we have in the room, the players that we have, we believe in all of them. And it's our job against another really good, for us offensively, a great defense. It's a big challenge, but it's time to do it. And I think these guys care. You saw it after the game. These guys it has nothing to do with lack of effort. It has nothing to do with not caring. These guys want it. This is new territory for us. So it's how do we handle this new territory?
Where are you at in terms of little tweaks can get you there, as opposed to sweeping changes this late in the season?
Yeah, the sweeping changes aren't going to do anything for us. We know what we have. That's who we are, and we believe in what we're doing. There's been moments where we have not. You look at those 4th down plays the other day, right? It's you can't sleep for 2 days because you're so you're in a position like that. When coach, when we go for it, we have a ton of, we've been successful this year on a lot of those. So it's easy to go back and say, well, you shouldn't have gone for it after you don't make it. Understand that. That's a part of criticism. But when we have the decision to go for it, we want to execute it. We want to make it in that moment in time. It's a big play. Thank goodness the defense was awesome, and they got the ball back for us there at the end. You're down 7, backed up. You got to go down and score. That's to me like that part of the game. All that said, we didn't get it on the second one. Get the ball back, go down and win the game, or at least tie it, go to overtime. That's the part that we haven't been doing. And so, for people that have been through these moments, it's easy to start trying to change things up. It's easy to try to search to do something different. In the end, you got to believe in each other. You got to trust in each other. You got to dig down a little bit. It's not easy, but that's the only choice we have. And when you have good character people, that you can pull through these moments.
I will say to the 4th down, just the play call itself, not the decision to go.
Which one?
The 4th and 1.
4th and 1. Yeah, that's a play that over the last 10 years, when you pick and choose your times, because you can't do it all the time, it's been very successful for us. We ran it a little bit different of a way of how we did it, and to credit to them, man, they did a good job on defense. They passed some things off, and they made a good play. And so, they ended up getting the touchdown after that, which made it a 7-point game. But you always, the 4th and 1, you want to be able to get, whether it's a run or a pass. Whether it's a run or a pass, and I know we've been successful with the run game. I understand that. But that play over the many years here in this Chiefs place, it's been really good, so it didn't work,
When you say that you as coaches have to do better, what are the first things that come to your mind as to why you want to say that?
You want to, like that, his question he just had with the play call, right? The play design. You look back and you love for the guy to be wide open. And then as a coach, you're like, you know what? That was awesome, man. They were wide open and the play worked. when the play doesn't work, the first thing you do is you say, was it the right play design? That's the first thing you got to say. So stuff like that. Moments in the game, you want to make sure if a play is not working, why isn't it? Are you adjusting the right way? So that's where you have to start. And then sometimes, like Rasheed on the last fourth down, he did a hell of a job. I know he dropped the ball, but he did a hell of a job within the concept of seeing there's a defender there and kind of aborting his route to get open. And Rasheed's a guy that once he catches the ball, he tries to get north and south better than anybody in the league. He was trying to do that, and he dropped the ball. So the players at times, sometimes they'll make a play when the play design isn't great or perfect. That was one of those deals, but I think we start with ourselves and say, how do we put them in the best position possible? Protection, route, run game, tendency breakers, all that stuff matters. And we take a lot of pride in that. And so when it doesn't work, it's always on us as coaches before the players. And then we go into the execution part. Like, why didn't it work? Are we making the same mental errors? And if we are, why is that happening? And I think, like, for me, it's my job as the offensive coordinator to make sure that these guys that we're putting them in a good spot, but then they're doing it. And it can't keep happening. So when you get to that moment, how do you fix that? And because when we don't do that, we're pretty good. We gotta not do it.
We're gonna go a couple more, Seren and then Nick.
But you said earlier, you believe in your guys.
Yeah.
Right. So you believe in 53 guys, but only 11 walk out on the field,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have to decide which guys go. How do you, Esapoli played really well. I mean, looking at it, the value of hindsight, like, oh, geez, how'd that guy ever get out there? Is there, Hunter Norzad has graded well when he's had a chance to play a little bit. Where are you on believing on some of those guys? And if there maybe been some mistakes made as far as which guys have gotten the call.
It's a good point. Think of some of the, you think of when an injury happens, or you think of Tom Brady and just how that kind of happened at that point in time. That's a much different example, but your point is valid that sometimes guys get an opportunity that maybe they wouldn't have gotten for whatever reason. And when a guy like Essa steps up and does what he did in that moment after the very first play, cannot begin to say how proud I am of him, of now what he did. And that's great for him. That's great for us. That's important. You're not always going to be spot on with your evaluations until sometimes guys get real chances. He got a real chance. And now for him, what's he going to do with it? And he does have a game on tape now. And that's one example.
So that's some of what Matt Nagy had to say to the assembled press. What about Steve Spagnuolo? A little shorter than usual for Spags at the podium today. Here's the Chiefs defensive coordinator.
Good to see everybody. I don't have a lot to say. I mean, we were a little disappointed in what happened last week. But the one thing about this league, you wake up on Wednesday when the guys come in and you go back to work. It's an NFL Wednesday, and I thought our guys worked really good yesterday and anticipate that happening today as well. With that, I'll open it up.
What did you put in the orange slices at halftime there to make the team?
The orange. Oh, were they eating oranges? Listen, I told the guys on Tuesday, I was really proud of how hard they fought and played. I mean, it was unfortunate that, we needed to find a way to make that one drive a 3-point instead of 4, and we didn't do that. So that we were disappointed in that. But I told them, I said, look, these other teams can have all the rankings and stats. I'll take what our guys give and have every week and the way they fight and how hard they fight, no matter what. I mean, they just go out there and do their job and do it at a high level. So I was really proud of them. I just wish we could have found a way to make 1 or 2 more plays and keep the score down a little bit.
What do you think about the Chris's?
In the day, I think it feels like he's kind of been on that trajectory, Sam, for a little bit the past few weeks. And I think I've said this to you guys before. I love the way he's practicing. He's in tune. He was different. Something happened. Maybe he had some of those oranges back 3 or 4 weeks ago. But I think it's showing up in this play on Sundays.
First game against LA, no tape, came out throwing. It felt like he caught a little bit. What have you learned from that? And then since then, watching them throughout the
a great point. We thought, really, I remember going into that game thinking, hey, they'll try to control the football with the run game, and boom, they came out. And I think that first drive, they might have run it twice. There was a couple in the red zone. We'll see. Listen, they do both really effectively. They got the running back who was hurt. They believe in running the football, so I don't think we can ever discount that they're not going to just line up and do what they do running the football. But certainly the quarterback is an issue, both with his arm and with his feet. I think he's playing outstanding. He refuses to get, he got sacked, I know, a couple of times in this last game, but he refuses to go down in certain situations, and he just fights tooth and nail and finds a way to will his team to wins, and that's what he's been doing. It's pretty impressive.
Steve, what surprised you most from where you thought this season may go to what the reality is?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody thought we'd be sitting here in December with 7 losses, but that is reality. And until somebody says you're all done playing, we just come in here and work every week. I thought Andy had a great message this morning, to the guy, basically that, let's go to work. That's what we do, and our guys do that, which is a good thing.
That has that relentlessness and that toughness and that mentality. How do you match that?
Well, we got to play the way we did, in that stretch, like we did in the last game. I felt our guys did that same thing in the Colts game. I mean, we've had, it's been one of those years where, we've played really, really well, and then there's a couple of things here or there, a playoff, and it makes all the difference in the game from the defensive perspective. They're on a roll right now, the Chargers, so we certainly got to match that. I mean, the energy in Arrowhead will help us. And I think our guys are professionals, and they'll go out there and give everything they got.
Both sides of the ball, you guys lost. I mean, you lost a tackle on offense, right? But you lost the corner.
Yeah.
Right? How much of the call sheet goes away when a player of that significance comes off the field, or does none of it? Is it still the same?
No, it's a great point. Listen, so I was fully aware of it when it happened, and I'm asking constantly, is Trent coming back? Is he coming back? I think he tried. Yeah, there are things that we do based on where 22 is and where we put him. So some of that went away. But for the most part, we stuck to the plan only because I felt we couldn't venture too far from it, what we decided to do against that particular opponent. And, we'll see where we're at with Trent this week. But that I will say this, the guys that went out, that Jalen did a nice job, and Noel, for not getting reps during the week, right, went in there and did admirable. And hopefully if those guys got to play again this week, hopefully they can step it up and be effective.
Different types of pass catchers between the trio wide receivers and the tight end that's
Yeah.
going on. I guess, how difficult is it just considering the personnel matching?
Yeah, I mean, I think the quarterback makes them all good. And what one might be lacking in speed, the other makes up for quickness. I mean, you're right. Not until you said that, they're all different challenges, And so our corners, or our nickels, when they line up against a certain guy, they would have, and they do it. They study what each guy likes to do. I mean, we know certain ones are wiggle guys, certain ones go like that. They got them all. And a crafty vet, too, who's really good. I mean, he's playing really good, I think.
Steve, can you evaluate where Jaden Hicks is in the development?
Yeah, I mean, Jaden, I think if you ask Jaden, he'd tell you he's kind of had an up and down season. But there's been flashes of good football play there. We're gonna need him now. We get down the stretch here. Mike Edwards is kind of, as a crafty vet, is filled in there. But yeah, Jaden, listen, I've brought him in a couple of times, and he's made some mistakes that I wouldn't have thought he would have made in his second season. But I like the way he gets himself ready for games, and hopefully we get some good play out of him.
Dan, what did Jalen Watson show you in maybe having to be the guy in that?
Yeah, so listen, what I really liked about that was I think he either went to Dave or me, I can't remember in the middle of the game, but he wanted to then travel with what Trent was doing with number 12, and without batting an eyelash, that's what some guys might kind of hide. Don't put me over there, but he wanted it, and I thought he did a pretty good job of it too.
That was Steve Spagnuolo from earlier today. Interesting about Jaden Hicks, who's a guy I think we all thought was going to take a big step forward this year. And Steve Spagnuolo basically saying, look, yeah, we've gone to Mike Edwards instead of him because there's still some things he's doing that aren't quite right. That aren't quite the right thing that we need him to do on a play-by-play basis. So Jaden Hicks still a work in progress. And I think some of the plans for the Chiefs defense this year involved him being a little further along than that. But frank talk there from Steve Spagnuolo about the second-year safety. We'll take a timeout, come back, and wrap up this 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. Little either or over under to wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. I'll put the number. I'm not even sure what the Vegas number is. Now I kind of want to look before I do this. But it's total points for the Chargers on Sunday against the Chiefs. I'm trying to find. Okay, the number is 18.5. Total points for the Chargers. Over under 18.5 on Sunday.
I'll take the under only because defense for the Chiefs seemed to play well in spurts on Sunday.
It looks like they're going to be maybe healthy. McDuffie was limited again today, but Cook should be back. Nick Bolton was sick, didn't practice today, but hopefully that's just a one-day deal. The Chargers can't block, cannot block. They're worse than the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, I think we might see some Chris Jones.
Yeah, this should be
Chris Jones feasting like he did on the first 2 plays after halftime.
What the Chiefs did to the Texans feels repeatable because of how bad the Chargers are up front. You got one?
Yeah.
I'm going under 2 for the record.
I'm going, yeah. Okay, so after the winter meetings, Royals over under win total for next year, I'm setting it where it was last year at 82. Do you think they get, as of right now, with nothing really being done?
Nobody else in the division is getting better either. I mean, better pitching health. They probably get there by default, but not by much. That's the frustrating thing about this is the Central is there for whoever wants it. And the Royals right now are not acting like they want it.
Exactly.
And that's what's bothering me. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, headlines. Voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus joins us, and more coming up on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis, hanging out with you on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our streaming video channels, Facebook, WIBW News, YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Like and subscribe, folks. We love to see it when we get new viewers and new commenters and new subscribers on Facebook and YouTube. You can interact with us in this final hour of the show in the live chat on our YouTube stream. Again, the name of the channel, 580 Sports Talk. In the comments on our Facebook page, WIBW News, and on the text line, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. Still to come on the final hour of the show, final full hour. We'll have a half hour of overtime between 6 and 6:30 before Thursday Night Football. You'll hear our conversation with Rick Peterson, the local sports spotlight from earlier today, and we'll hear from Chris Jones as well from Chiefs Media Availability earlier today. That's coming up in the 6 o'clock hour. Here in the final regulation hour of 580 Sports Talk, Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, will join us in about 18 minutes or so. We'll get Mitch's thoughts on the state of the Chiefs as they enter must-win territory in these final 4 games of the regular season. And, of course, some outstanding statistical nuggets for this second matchup of the season between the Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. Mitch is coming up. Of course, his conversations with us brought to us by Hy-Vee and Azure Credit Union. Also give you a guide to scoreboard watching this weekend if you are a Chiefs fan. We'll do some other fun stuff before we head out the door for the day here on the show. But we want to begin with our 580 Sports Talk headlines, and there is plenty to get to on the headline front as we start our headlines on this Thursday. We'll take a quick peek at some local sports headlines to start. They are underway in the second half in the national semifinals of the Division II women's soccer tournament at Widener Field in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The Washburn Ichabods trying to make this national championship game for a second time in 3 years. They are tied 0-0 with Franklin Pierce as the second half has just gotten underway. You can watch that match if you're so inclined over at NCAA.com. Franklin Pierce and Washburn battling for a spot in the national title game, which will be played on Saturday. The winner will play the winner between tonight's match between Cal Poly Pomona and Florida Tech. Cal Poly Pomona is the defending national champions of Division II women's soccer. So we'll keep an eye on this one, and hopefully we have some glad tidings to bring you by the end of the show. But again, a defensive struggle out there in Colorado Springs. Washburn and Franklin Pierce deadlocked 0-0 in the national semifinals. Also in local sports news, there will be at least one new high school football coach in the city coaches club next season. Doug Bonura has stepped down as Care Paravel's head football coach, citing a desire to spend more time with his family. Bonura has been about the only football coach Care Paravel has known. He's been the only coach since Care Paravel joined or became a Acacia-affiliated school and guided that team to a state sub-state game in 8-man football 3 seasons ago. Always found Doug very pleasant to deal with personally, as talked to him throughout the last couple of seasons on the 580 Preps Coaches Club, and wish Doug well as he moves forward outside of the sidelines of Care Paravel football. Let's shift to the Chiefs-Chargers participation report. Spencer, what do you got for your first headline?
Yeah, only 3 players did not practice for the Chiefs today. Obviously Wanya Morris dealing with that knee injury that's expected to sideline him for the rest of the season, though they haven't put him on IR as of now. He didn't practice. Jawan Taylor, the starting right tackle, didn't practice, dealing with the triceps and knee injury. Both of those guys not practicing for the second straight day. Nick Bolton, newly showing up on the injury report with an illness today. He was out of practice. Limited in practice for the Chiefs after not practicing yesterday due to a personal reason was Hollywood Brown. Trent McDuffie has been limited now with that knee both days. And then Trey Smith was a full participant yesterday, listed as a full participant. I don't know exactly what they did yesterday for practice, but then today with dealing with that ankle, he was listed as a limited participant. Practicing in full is Brian Cook with an ankle, Noah Gray with a shoulder, Patrick Mahomes dealing with that knee injury that he seemed to aggravate during the game. Nico Remigio fully participated with the concussion. Rashee Rice fully participates with a hamstring, and Juju Smith-Schuster fully participating with a rib injury. As for the Chargers, 4 players not practicing. Darius Davis, the wide receiver, dealing with an injury, didn't practice for the second straight day. Same with linebacker Troy Dye, dealing with a hip injury, didn't practice. Defensive back Elijah Molden, dealing with a hamstring injury, didn't practice, along with Trey Pipkins III, a guard and tackle, dealing with an ankle injury. That's 2 straight days of not practicing for him. Limited in practice, Ladd McConkey with a foot injury both days this week. Justin Herbert dealing with that left hand injury, limited again. Obviously expect him to go during the game. Full participant in practice was Will Dissly, the tight end, dealing with a shoulder injury. He was listed as limited yesterday. Keenan Allen didn't practice yesterday due to vet rest, but he was a full participant in practice. And then Khalil Mack, the outside linebacker, getting vet rest yesterday as well, fully participating today.
McConkey being limited is interesting. I would suspect he'll probably make it to game day, but that's the primary passing target, obviously, for Justin Herbert. And if he's limited his speed, his cutting ability in any way, that certainly hurts the Chargers' passing game. Their lack of thump on the offensive line has limited their running game, even with the return of Omari and Hampton. That is an offense that is gettable for the Chiefs defense. If they play the way they did against Houston, if they're able to blitz, if they're able to get pressure and push, and they limit the run game, which they typically do to teams, I think they could have a very good day against the Chargers, meaning it won't take much offense for the Chiefs to get over the line on Sunday in that scenario. Next headline, we continue following the Sherrone Moore saga at Michigan, and boy, did it take a grim turn last night and today. We did not report. We echoed the reports. We read the story. Sherrone Moore was fired as the head coach at the University of Michigan yesterday, and very swiftly, the report came in a press release from the University of Michigan that he was being fired for cause because an investigation revealed that he had an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Later last night, it was reported that Moore had been taken into custody in Washtenaw County. And this morning, the Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office told ESPN that it does not expect a decision today on whether to file criminal charges. Authorities have not released details about Moore's arrest other than to say that he remains under investigation. The statement from Pittsfield Charter Township Police last night said they responded at 4:10 p.m., that's Eastern time, to the 3000 block of Ann Arbor Saline Road for the purposes of investigating an alleged assault. A suspect in this case was taken into custody. The incident does not appear to be random in nature, and there appears to be no ongoing threat to the community. He was initially detained, Moore was, by police in Saline, Michigan, and turned over to authorities in Pittsfield Township. That was the reporting yesterday. You will note that the police response to the assault was 4:10 Eastern, so 3:10 Central. That news that he had been fired broke about 20 minutes later, and the press release followed. So that raised its own set of questions. Then additional reporting today, and this is where it really gets dark. TMZ Sports is on this, and they have obtained dispatch audio stemming from the alleged assault, with a woman claiming he attacked her at her home on Wednesday after stalking her for months. The audio states a call was made from a Michigan football employee's address around 4 p.m. The employee, who has worked for the Wolverines for years, was the executive assistant to the head coach, which was Sherrone Moore. It's unclear if the employee was the woman allegedly attacked or if the incident just so happened to take place at her home. In the audio, a report is made that the suspect's wife, Moore's wife, has said that the suspect is suicidal and that it is hard to make it out, but sounds like it is due to, quote, losing his job today. Further reporting has suggested, and this from John U. Bacon, who has a lot of connections to Michigan football. He's written multiple books about the program. He's based out of Ann Arbor, and he's the kind of guy who would know this. A suggestion that a knife was involved, that Moore obtained a knife, breaking and entering into a house and obtained a knife and threatened to harm both the occupant of the residence and himself. Further, NBC Sports reports that Michigan Athletic Director Ward Manuel knew that Moore was having mental health issues, but fired him alone without an HR rep present on Wednesday afternoon. Apparently that happened before the alleged assault. So this is an extremely, extremely messy story, extremely unfortunate, and it sure feels like everything must go. Everything, they've got to fumigate the Michigan football facility. They've got to get
There's
rid
reporting
of
out there
everybody
right now that the AD has been fired, but that's not been confirmed.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
But they're going to have to. I mean, it's got to happen, right?
Yeah, whether that's confirmed or not, whether that's just loose speculation or somebody having a laugh on X, that has to happen.
Yeah.
Like there's no going back from, oh yeah, I know that this man is having mental issues, but I'm not going to involve HR when I fire him. I'm not always involve HR, man. That's like administration 101. Yeah. Always involve HR.
But he did allegedly, there is reporting out there that he got the executive assistant came forward yesterday morning, went to the university, went to the AD with documentation saying, yes, this did happen.
There's a lot of allegedly going around here. There's been.
Well, I'm saying allegedly because there's no straight facts.
Right, exactly. So. And there's a lot of allegedly that was out there for a couple of weeks before this all went down yesterday. But
yeah, I mean, somebody posted on X literally a week ago.
Yeah, that something was up
with this exact executive. That this was going, that like he did this.
Yeah, that the executive in question hasn't been confirmed.
No, but
she's already deleted there's a woman who has deleted a lot of social media accounts, and there's no sense in making that person's life worse right now. Yeah. So
according to university files, though, she did go from making $58,000 to $90,000.
Interesting. So Michigan's going to have to fumigate the football building. They've got to clear out everybody. And the first question they need to ask all their new hires is, do you have anything to do with Jim Harbaugh? And if the answer is yes, get them out of there. Like, Michigan got their national title, which was the whole point of bringing Jim Harbaugh back. But boy, what a cost it has come at to the reputation of that football program and frankly, the reputation of the athletic department and the rest of the university, which is a proud university, a great university, and a proud athletic department. And these are the consequences. Lie down with dogs, wake up with fleas. Anyway, next headline, Spencer.
Yeah, this just coming official earlier. I don't think you mentioned it. I put it right in here. Colin Klein makes his first official hire. Stanton Weber's officially been named the special teams coordinator. So that is out on the K-State Sports website.
Yeah, we've got a couple of hires made official today by Kansas State. They officially also
that means Weber signed his contract.
Right, Trey Scott's been hired as the general manager, and now Stanton Weber's the first new coach that we know under Colin Klein. Really a no-brainer. Stanton Weber had been the special teams coordinator at Toledo the last 3 years, had done some really good work. He was a solid special teams player when he was at Kansas State. Obviously his dad is on the network radio broadcast, Stan Weber, K-Stater himself. This news will be met, I think, with a lot of positivity. Number one, because it's a K-Stater returning home. But number two, K-State's special teams have been a shambles the last 3 years. They've been getting progressively worse. And for a minute there, they didn't really have a special teams guy. And then they brought one in from the NFL, Nate Kaser. Kazor, I think it was how you pronounce his name. Katzer, that's right.
Yes, he was with my team.
Yeah, Katzer. And I don't know what they were paying it for because there sure weren't dividends being paid on that side of that aspect of the game. So, yeah, I think this will be a move that is greeted with a great deal of positivity to have Stanton Weber running the special teams. One last headline. We will go to the National Football League. A health scare for Steelers star pass rusher TJ Watt. He is in a local hospital for further lung evaluation after he experienced discomfort at the practice facility on Wednesday. His status for Monday's game against the Miami Dolphins is in question. The lung injury, as it's termed in Brooke Pryor's story at ESPN.com, occurred during treatment at the team facility, and he has been hospitalized since then. So that's a very strange scenario there, very scary scenario. You're talking about like vital organs and lungs and things like that. So hopefully all is well with TJ Watt. And we got enough room for one more Major League Baseball hot stove tidbit, a major signing today. The Atlanta Braves have agreed to terms with closer Robert Suarez on a 3-year, $45 million contract. Suarez pitched for the Padres last season, led the National League with 40 saves and 45 chances, made his first All-Star team. He is 35 years old on March 1st. Only throws one pitch, really, just a fastball pitcher, but it's a really good fastball. Averages 98.6 miles per hour. So that is your hot stove. Those are your headlines. We're going to take a timeout, come back with the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. He joins us next on 580 Sports Talk. .525 on 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for our weekly chat with the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. Mitch's appearances on 580 Sports Talk are brought to us by Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and by Azura Credit Union. Contact Crystal Rippey or Naseem Khan about the credit union advantage for your next home loan. And Mitch, the story of this season continuing Sunday night against the Texans seems to be so close yet so far for these Chiefs. It'd be one thing if they'd gotten to this 6-7 record with a bunch of convincing losses to clearly superior teams. I don't think that's how anybody in the Chiefs locker room feels. They kind of feel like they continue to beat themselves. How does this team keep frustration from derailing them at this point in the season? Because I imagine that's a prevailing feeling of frustration in the locker room right now. How do they shed that by the time the next Sunday rolls along and stay focused on trying to make sure this is the week that the switch gets thrown?
Well, first of all, some number crunching is pertinent here to answer your question. And really the 25 Broncos and Chargers are the 24 Chiefs. The Chiefs are 1-6 in one possession games. The Chargers are 5-1. The Broncos are 9-2 in one possession games. Very similar to the Chiefs a year ago when they had the 12 straight one possession wins, but were actually chastised for it, not applauded. That's what one of the maddening narratives from last year. But with the Chiefs only 1-6, only Washington is worse at 0-4 in one possession games. All right, so that's to your point of so close but yet so far. And the other contributing factors to the frustration is it's been something different in different games. And when the offense gets 28 on Dallas on Thanksgiving and Mahomes throws for 4 touchdowns and no picks, then it comes back and Houston's offense is just okay. They get suffocated by the Chiefs defense, and then the offense can't make it on 4th and 1 at the 31. I mean, but there is a strong leadership component to this team. One thing that's been a little bit irritating, somewhat outside the fort, is how quickly people have kind of just given up. And there's no give up inside the fort. Now, this Sunday will answer a lot, obviously. If the Chiefs lose this game, there's like a 0.07 chance of making the playoffs. This is it. You're down to this game. But if you win this game, watch the narratives change somewhat. Instead of just being despair and no hope to like, well, wait a minute. But you've got to win this game. So to answer your question, the leadership component of this head coach, a Hall of Fame head coach, Hall of Fame quarterback, and I'm going to put Chris Jones at the top of this list. I've talked to him every day this week. I talked to him just a little bit ago. That dude is so wanting to figure this out and staying positive and trying to affect everybody else. We have seen it now in 2 games, the Colts game and the game the other day, where his first play of the third quarter and getting everybody to jump on his back flipped that game. If the Chiefs don't blow the 4th and 1 at their own 31, they probably win that game. And it largely in part to Chris Jones keeping everything going. You have to have a strong internal leader group, and this team's got it. So let's go it. Let's go to get it. Let's win this week, and people talk different.
Maybe the biggest positive I thought to take away from that Chiefs loss to the Texans on Sunday night was the play, not just to Chris Jones. I felt like that was the best day for the Chiefs front four in some time. Certainly one of the best days for the blitz, if you can refer to that as a unit of the defense. Very impactful, getting C.J. Stroud off target and off timing, generated 3 sacks. I know you talked earlier this week to George Karlaftis going into this game, and I know that that's a group, that front four, that has taken some criticism this year, hasn't produced to the level that they were hoping that they would produce to, but maybe gaining some positive momentum and going into another matchup where they're going against an offensive line that's dealing with a lot of difficulties.
Well, I've talked to George a lot this week as well. Now, let's just take George and put him by himself. And this is not the 11th of December. It is the 11th of Karlaftis. And here's why I say that. 1/3 of his production, fully 1/3 of it, in his NFL career since 2022 has happened after December 1. His Decembers have been phenomenal. And it's whatever he saves the best for last. In the playoffs, he has 8 sacks in 10 playoff games. And he's 9-1 in those playoff games with 16 quarterback hits and 8 tackles for losses. Over a third of his quarterback hits have happened in December. So I not only talked to him publicly, I've talked to him privately of like, this is George time. And George knows there's no mystery for Sunday. There's no mystery in the opponent, and there's no mystery in the task.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the team we've played a lot in these past few years. Every year we play them twice, and the team that we lost to. So we have a lot of respect for them and their offense and them as a team. You know, they're very well coached. They're tough. They run the ball well. They can pass the ball. So there's a lot of respect from us to them. Just controlling what you can control. You know, there's no chance of us going to the playoff unless we win out, and you know, it's as simple as that. So just one step at a time, one game at a time, and control what we can control, and then we'll see where it's at when it's all over.
George is a 5,000-meter runner. That's the analogy, where he's not going to run the 400. But I think that's why his Decembers are so good. Maybe it's his water polo background or his crazy training regimen. But this is a long-form type guy. And so now's the time. This is George time. And hopefully they can harass Herbert, even though I've got the stats of the night are dealing with Herbert. But Herbert got sacked 7 times in that game Monday night. And even though he's a tough dude, and I've reevaluated his toughness, George can impact this game, just like the defense did when they flipped it against Houston last week.
Mitch Holthus is our guest here on 580 Sports Talk. He's the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he joins us courtesy of our friends at Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. The defense was so vital the last time, and obviously these were different circumstances because the Chiefs still had a chokehold on the AFC West 2 seasons ago when they lost that Christmas Day game to Las Vegas. And that felt like the last time that we felt around this time of year, oh man, I'm not sure the Chiefs are going to be able to reach back and get to that level, flip that switch and get to that championship level. And of course they did, and they won the Super Bowl, but they jumped on the defense's back there at the end of December and through January. And the defense was terrific. That was the In Spags We Trust, L'Jarius Sneed group. And they went and won the Super Bowl. A lot of those same guys are on this team. Is it a similar scenario here down the stretch where the Chiefs are maybe going to look at the defense, particularly given some of the opposition they're going to be playing that maybe don't have the best offenses, to really light the fire and be the guiding light and be the side of the ball that sets the tone down the stretch?
Well, I think you answered your own question with your last phrasing, because it really is opponent specific. Your answer is opponent specific. This week and the Bronco week, if you're going to run the table, is really on the defense, because the offense basically it's very much like the Houston game. You're not going to get a gob of points on the Charger defense, and for sure on the Bronco defense. You've got to manage it. You've got to be on it. You've got to be efficient. And the Chiefs were in position to win the game with 10 points on Sunday. And the 4th and 1 decision ends up looming big, and then you don't get the other 4th down. You drop 5 passes. I talked to you last week about tight window catches, not tight window throws. And the Chiefs did not make those tight window catches last week. And so it's a week where you're not going to get the fantasy points of 40-40. Now, the Titans game and the Raiders game, it's a different story. So you've got to have all 3 phases humming. But what you ask and then what you phrase at the end of the question is the answer. Opponent specific. Each week is different.
For this week, against a Charger team with an ailing offensive line, down their 2 starting tackles, as they have been for most of the season, never did get Rashawn Slater. He got hurt during camp, and then Joe Alt was hurt for the majority of this season, and have struggled on the interior as well. And as you mentioned, gave up 7 sacks to the Eagles on Monday night. It's a short turnaround for the Chargers, which I think could play a role in Sunday's game. But what are the things that the Chiefs can do to really disrupt the timing of this Chargers offense and make sure that, like the Texans on Sunday night, they struggle to move the ball consistently?
Well, the secret sauce of the Chargers, and you're hoping the short week and the travel, which is a factor here. It's been a factor for the Chiefs season, but you're getting a Charger team on the road on a short week in very cold weather. So in a 10 o'clock start time on their body clock. So it'd be us, like the Brazil game. It's a 2-hour earlier deal, but it was a night game. But a 10 a.m. start in the cold on a short week should give the Chiefs a boost. Now, The secret sauce for the Chargers has been, and they're good defensively, but they are second to Buffalo in time of possession. I think I don't know what the general feeling is if you just say flashcard, what do you think of the Chargers? But I think they're going to talk about Herbert in the passing game and Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, good players. But it's really their run game and time of possession. They play keep away. They are second to Buffalo in time of possession. Buffalo protects their defense. The Chargers don't necessarily have a defense to protect, but it's the way they want to play. Way back when we were getting ready for the game in Brazil, I told you that Jim Harbaugh wants to make the Chargers the Ravens of the AFC. Moving in that direction. Well, this team is 9-4, and the numbers really don't lead to that. It's just like the Chiefs' numbers don't lead to them being 6-7, with the exception of a few. The Chargers are +1 in the giveaway takeaway, and the fact that let me give you want the stats of the night?
Yeah, give them to me.
These are crazy. Oh yeah, these are crazy. Herbert against the Eagles was pressured 68% of the time and won the game. That's ridiculous. The highest in the next-gen stat era. Herbert has faced 224 pressures this year. That's 31 more than any quarterback in the league. Cam Ward is second. We know how that's going. Herbert has been hit 106 times. That is 13 more than any quarterback in the league. Second, Patrick Mahomes, 93 hits. Herbert's been sacked the third most time at 45. Only Geno Smith and Cam Ward have more. And we mentioned the 7 sacks against the Eagles. So that does not add up to 9-4. I'm sorry. But it does when you have this team that doesn't give the ball away or hangs on to it, and you've got a resourceful defense. Now, here's the stat that really got me. You can have fun with this the rest of the week. You don't want to sack Herbert 7 times. You want to sack him 5. Herbert has been sacked 6 times or more in 3 games in his career, and he's won all 3. If he sacked 5 between 2 and 5, his record is like 20%. So don't sack him 6 or 7 times. Sack him 5. But those numbers just don't add up. And he's thrown 11 picks. Last year, remember, he only had 3.
Yeah.
He set a record. But he had 4 in the playoff loss to Houston. He's also running the ball. Herbert has 4 times this year with 50-plus yard rushing games. They beat the Eagles Monday night because he ran. He scrambled in that last field goal drive. Now, he's had 4 times this year with 50-plus rushing games. He had only 4 such games in his first 86 of his career. This year, only Jackson Dart has more 50-plus rushing games for a quarterback than Herbert. So how are these guys, and remember the 19-yard scramble on us on 3rd and 14. That protected the 6-point lead, and we're going to get the ball back, and Pat may go down and win the game. How are these guys 9-4? It's really bizarre. It's not because they're protecting him. The dude's tough, playing with a broken left hand, but they're just resourceful enough and stay on the field enough that they mitigate all the lost yardage or the hits that he takes in pressures and sacks. But you got a chance now to get after him, and that's where it's Karloff this time, and Chris Jones leading the way. And what you alluded to in your inference and your question 3 questions ago was the defense needs to carry this game.
Mitch Holthus is the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. He'll have the call as the Chiefs and the Chargers battle at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday at noon. Network pregame coverage starting at 11 a.m. right here on 580 WIBW. His appearances on 580 Sports Talk are brought to us by Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and by Azura Credit Union, where you can contact Crystal Rippey or Naseem Khan about the credit union advantage for your next home loan. Mitch, I would be remiss if I did not ask you for a quick thought as a former voice of the Kansas State Wildcats. What do you think Colin Klein's greatest strength as the K-State head coach is going to be?
Comprehensive knowledge of everything. I think the fact that he has absorbed so much as a player, he's very much like Mahomes. As a quarterback in that program, it was almost like he was an additional coach. And it wasn't about just trying to handle what he had. He, when he played, had a unique sense of responsibility for the entire operation. That's rare. So you say, ooh, that's a future coach. Pat does the same thing here. And the fact that he went on to coach and coach there, he knows the lay of the land. Every place is unique. He knows how to play to the strengths of that school. I wish they would have gone to a bowl. That's not your question. And I could sit here and listen to all of the reasons why not, but I could give you a bunch of reasons why they built that program based on going to bowl games and what it did for them. They're not meaningless games, but still, they're not going. And what he's got is he's wise beyond his years. And there's a strength to him, an inner strength that is physical, mental, and emotional. Again, very similar to Mahomes. These guys are kind of one-of-one types. But the fact that he is that mature and understood at an early age, he was destined to be in this role, and I'm excited for him. But I am going to give kudos to Coach Kleiman. I hope he goes in the Ring of Honor someday, because that dude was really, really good. And if you're a K-State fan and don't think so, I'll argue all night with you. Kleiman did amazing things for that school when they needed it. And what he did and how he did it and in the time in which he did it, I hope will never be misunderstood or understated.
Some bonus insight from the great Mitch Holthus here on 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday. Mitch, always appreciate you. We'll do it again next week.
All right. Thank you.
That is Mitch Holthus. We will take a timeout. We'll come back. We have breaking Royals news. We have a Royals transaction, a big league Royals transaction to tell you about, and I kind of like it. We'll tell you why next here at 580 Sports Talk. 546 on 580 Sports Talk. Thanks again to Mitch Holthus for joining us here on the program. I teased it going into the break. The Royals have signed a major league outfielder to a contract. Will Salmon of The Athletic is first to report that the Royals are in agreement on a deal with Lane Thomas. Lane Thomas, the former Cleveland Guardian, Washington National, and St. Louis Cardinal. He is 30 years old, right-handed hitter, right-handed thrower, has played all three outfield positions in his career, primarily right field, but can handle it in center field. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at what Lane Thomas did last year. Lane Thomas wishes you would not look at what Lane Thomas did last year. He was beat up. He had injury issues all season long that limited him to just 39 games, and he didn't hit in those 39 games. He had a 518 OPS. He was bad. He was bad last year. All right, let's get that out of the way. He was not particularly awesome in 2024 when he split time between Washington and Cleveland. He was all right with Washington. Wasn't great with Cleveland, except did hit a crucial playoff home run for them in Game 5 of their series against the Tigers.
I would say he was pretty good with the Nationals. He had a 6.4 wins above replacement.
That's his career as a National.
Yeah.
I was saying in 2024, he was just okay. 2023 was his best year. His age 27 season, generally a player's best year. His best season, a 783 OPS that year, just a 315 on base. So if you're looking for a guy who's going to walk, not him. If you're looking for a guy who's not going to strike out, also not him. But in 2023, he hit 28 home runs, 36 doubles, and also stole 20 bases. He stole 32 bases in 2024. So there's a history of a little power. There's a history of a little speed. But you look at his numbers on its face, and it looks like a guy who makes a lot of outs. A 309 career on base. So why, oh, why do I like this move for the Royals? What if I told you that they were adding a hitter with a 292 batting average, a 359 on base, and a 500 slug career? What if I told you the hitter the Royals were signing had those career numbers, not single season, career numbers of a 292 average, a 359 on base, and a 500 slug? It's pretty good, right? That's really good. That's an 859 OPS. That's top tier stuff. Those are Lane Thomas's career numbers against left-handed pitching. So this is not the outfielder, right? This is not the guy you go and you say, meet our new everyday left fielder. He's going to play every single day, and he's going to boost our offense because he's a reliable source of getting on base, this or that. That is not Lane Thomas. I think Lane Thomas is being acquired because right now, as it stands, do you know what the starting outfield for the Royals looks like?
Yes, it stands. It looks like Cags
and right.
Center is
Bell and center.
Is Bell. Left, I have no clue.
Probably John Rave in left field. Like, hopefully not. Like, it can't be, right? Like, you're going to have to upgrade over John Rave in left field. But what do those three guys all have in common? They're all left-handed.
Yeah.
All left-handed bats. So it's a very left-hand heavy outfield. Lane Thomas can play all three positions and play them fairly well, can run a little, can hit for a little power, and is right-handed and can play against lefties. So the thought process behind this addition is about the same as the thought process behind bringing in Randall Grichuk at the trade deadline last year when their outfield was so lefty-heavy and they needed a right-hander to spell Cags or spell Isbell. I think Thomas is probably a better player at this stage in his career than Grichuk is at his stage in his career. So this is a move that I will give a thumbs up to, provided he is not the only addition to the outfield. If he is your fourth outfielder, I think he's a pretty good fourth outfielder.
I'm a thumb side, and I'm hoping that the surgery that he underwent last year that ended his season is the right thing that will address the plantar fasciitis, because that thing pops up a lot with guys.
Yeah, that's not a fun fun injury.
That's like it'll just pop up randomly and then he's gone for 6 weeks.
And it's a hard one to play through because especially if speed is a part of your game and you're playing outfield, it's hard to play through that. And it certainly contributed to why he was not good last year. He had come off 3 consecutive years of really 4 consecutive years of being an above average offensive contributor, even with his general inability to get on base, because he's been a source of power and he's been a source of speed. If he is healthy and he can continue and get back to the ability to play all 3 outfield positions, and he is leaned on as your 4th outfielder and not expected to be one of your starters, I think it's a good move. We'll wait and see on the terms of it. Like, this is not the move that you say, we got Lane Thomas. Next stop, championship. Next stop, parade at the World War I Veterans Memorial. We are going to win it all in 2026 because we've got Lane Thomas. It is not that kind of move, but I think it is an additive move for the Royals outfield to supplement all of the left-handed bats.
Yeah.
So that is the news. We finally got a signing from the Royals. It is Lane Thomas, who projects, as far as I am concerned, as a right-handed platoon bat who can play all 3 outfield positions. Honestly, I might even give him the shot to beat out Isbell in center. I really might. I think
I liked him in center for the Nats. I mean, heck, that was the game I went to when I went home for Memorial Day and missed his bobblehead by like 5 people.
No, he had come off a really good year, so he was kind of popular there in Washington. I'm trying to check and see if I can find some of his defensive numbers here. See if there's anything to like. Not really. Like, he's not a great defender, but he's a willing defender, I guess you could say. He's willing to move around the defensive spectrum. But good speed, even dealing with the injury last year. Good speed, good arm. Doesn't chase a lot of pitches. Swings at pitches in the zone. So, yeah, there's some things to like, but definitely as a platoon player, I would not want the Royals to move forward with Lane Thomas as a starter in left field. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We will wrap up the program with the final word after this. Final word time here on 580 Sports Talk, wrapping things up on this Thursday edition. Spencer Dupuis, what's your final word?
Well, I was about to say congratulations, Washburn Women's Soccer, but the stat website.
Yeah, it went from showing they had a 2-0 lead to actually they're losing now to Franklin Pierce with 8 minutes left, 2-1.
So if that's where it ends for Washburn Women's Soccer, wow, what a great campaign. And they'll be back there. They got some young players.
All right. Final word for me today. Going back to the top of the broadcast, I understand maybe you're just protecting yourself against the disappointment. Maybe you've reached stage 5 acceptance about the Chiefs, and the likelihood at this point is much more likely than not that they will miss the playoffs. But for my perspective, there's enough championship equity with this squad for me. I want to see them air it out and see if they can do it. And I don't think it's out of the question that they can at least do the winning out part of the equation. If they don't get the help, they don't get the help. Nothing they can do about it. And if you go 10-7 and miss the playoffs, that's tough, man. That's a tough break. But I think that ought to at least be the honorable way for the Chiefs to try and go out this season, is try and finish this thing with a winning record. Try and finish this thing with the best record you can possibly have. And like I said, you want to see a great champion go out on his shield. And I think that's what we're going to get from the Chiefs. I don't think they're going to pack it in. I think you're going to get spirited effort from them on Sunday. I think they have an opportunity in a vacuum to win all 4 of their games. It's hard to win 4 in a row in the NFL. It's hard to beat divisional opponents. So nothing's promised, but it is possible. And I think that's the outcome that you should root for if you're a Chiefs fan, because if they get in this year's playoff field, anything can happen. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 5:30. For Spencer, I'm Dan. This is 580 Sports Talk. Good night.